So I think looks like we're all here. I'm Pascale Chambers, and happy to be here with you this morning. And I had the opportunity to see a few people in person this week. I was on retreat for a couple days, and so I got to meet Shelton. Hey, Shelton. Got to see Kathleen, and so that was nice. It's always nice to see some people in person from time to time, and you see people on Zoom all the time and you feel like you already know them. And you get to meet them in person, and that's kind of fun. So I celebrated a birthday this week, and you can see I don't usually have these nice flowers, but I have my birthday flowers behind me, so that's kind of fun. And I got to be on, as I mentioned, I got to be on retreat. So I actually was there for my birthday. So I got a special birthday blessing. So that was nice to be able to do that. And since I was having a birthday, that got me thinking about the idea of regrets. And so I thought today I would talk a little bit about dealing with regrets. And because it seems as we get older, there is a lot more opportunity to feel regrets about some of the things that have happened in our lives. The longer we're on this planet inhabiting a body, the more chances it seems like we have to mess things up. So, so this is something that I was giving a little bit of thought to. And when we start to think about regrets, we may find ourselves asking some hard questions. What if the what ifs come up? What if I had done this instead of that? What if I hadn't trusted that person? What if I didn't make that mistake? Or the if onlys can come up as well. If only I hadn't made that decision. If only that hadn't happened. Why didn't I listen to my intuition that day? And this can go on and on, right? Several years ago, I was in a car accident. And that day prior to the accident, I had so many small warnings that something was amiss. And I didn't tune into them well enough. And to this day, I will sometimes find myself thinking, if only I had listened to my intuition that day. And the accident was no fault of mine. I was rear-ended by somebody who just wasn't paying attention. And fortunately, neither of us was seriously injured, but my car was totaled, and I've had a lot more anxiety about driving since that accident. So I would have loved to have avoided having that accident, having that experience in my life. So it has come up that I thought, shoot, if I, listened to that message that I was getting that day, then it wouldn't have happened. And this is how it can be. This can be our reaction to things from the past when they are traumatic or painful. We also can have small regrets, like I shouldn't have had that extra big piece of cake because now I have horrible indigestion. And these smaller, more recent regrets, we can learn from and we can move forward. We can chalk it off to a learning experience. I remember my husband and I, when we were first together, we were doing some traveling to different places, and so you're in different circumstances and different things are happening, and so you have more opportunities to make mistakes. And I remember after one of these, and we would say, "Oh, yeah, well, it's a learning experience." And at one point, he started saying, "I've had enough learning experiences." And so we have these small experiences, and that we may have small regrets along the way, and I think those can be helpful. Those can be learning experiences. But more so today, what I'm talking about is the big regrets, the more life-changing things that had happened, and that perhaps we're not pleased with some of the outcomes, the fallout, so to speak. A path we took that brought us here to where we are today. What if we are feeling bitter or angry or sad about the way things have turned out? Then what? And these feelings of regret or self-condemnation, they can be really hard to deal with. Often they are accompanied by guilt and remorse, and it can be very hard to process through these feelings. They come oftentimes with strong feelings and emotions, and sometimes they get stuck in us. We may be awash in our regrets. And if this goes on for too long unaddressed, we can become bitter and cynical. And when this happens, the loving essence that is inside all of us is unable to express freely anymore. And another thing that happens is we may become hesitant, and we may find ourselves having great difficulty making decisions because we're so afraid of making another mistake that we may regret. So then our world and our life starts to become smaller and smaller and more limited. We become incapacitated in a sense, and we become afraid to grow and experience new things. I met a young lady on retreat this week, and she's in her early 20s, and she was just a delightful person to talk to, and I enjoyed meeting her. But she was she was doing a lot of traveling. She was traveling all over the world by herself. A young woman, and I just thought, wow, that's amazing, right? To just have that courage and that openness to experience new things. So that was a little bit of my thinking of, as you get, I started thinking about, as you get older, you're a little more, not everyone, but sometimes we're more hesitant to do those things and to have those adventures, so to speak. So it was fun to see someone doing that and doing all these wonderful things. And fearless about it. So that was very inspiring to talk with her. Um, and then the other things, sometimes we do things in life that don't work out as well as we would have liked. And I think this is part of the getting older. We have tried things and sometimes they don't work out. We try and we fail, or we only have mild success. And there's a saying, the only things you will regret are the things you didn't do. And I'm not sure I agree with that completely, but I do think there's some wisdom there. I'd rather have done something and failed than to have never tried due to fear, because at least I've learned something and I've had some interesting experiences along the way. Yogananda tells us, though he may fail many times, the man who keeps on striving, who is undefeated within, is a truly victorious person. So, So sometimes regrets can also bring about positive things. So they're not all bad. Many years ago, I was in a situation where I inadvertently hurt someone, and even though my intentions were good, my actions did cause pain to another, and I felt very bad about this. I had regrets about it. And so I took steps. I took steps to make amends. And I sincerely apologized to this person. And I looked for opportunities to support them when I could. So, so we can, learn from our mistakes. And sometimes we can do something about the things we regret. Sometimes this is possible. And then, if we learn from this and we make amends where we can, then this can be very useful to our spiritual involvement. However, if we just wallow in our regrets and become a miserable person, then that is a waste of our precious time and energy. But the main thing that I wanted to share with you about regret today is that it's all about the past. And we are taught in yoga to live in the present. Every day, every moment is a new unfolding, another chance, another opportunity to see clearer, act wiser, be more understanding and loving to ourselves and others. So we don't need to live in regret. We can instead live in the present moment. Because here in this present moment in time is all the love, grace, and joy we could ever need. And so we can allow our regrets and our thoughts and emotions around it to have their moments. They'll come up and we can observe them and we can let them process through. We don't need to hold on to them and we don't need to allow them to get stuck. We can let them flow through us. And then we bring our awareness back to the present moment with intention. We intentionally choose to be alive and aware in this moment. Excuse me. And how do we do this? How do we become present in the moment? There's a few different things we can do. We can focus on the breath. We just come back to the breath and observe the breathing. We can chant a mantra. We can simply chant Om over and over again. We can use a different mantra, so hum. Really, any mantra that resonates to us, we can use to anchor us in the present moment. We can focus on something in our immediate environment. Like if we're outside, we can focus on a flower or a butterfly. We can focus on a piece of work or something of beauty. Or we can simply become very intentional about something in our lives that we feel positive about. We may be working on a project that we're excited about. We may be supporting someone, a friend or family member. So we can bring our focus back to those things, right? So we redirect our energies in a positive direction. We don't give regrets a dwelling place in us, right? We don't live in the past. We are present and intentional instead. And so I'll end my short talk with another quote from Yogananda. If you ever heard Yogananda speaking, Yogananda speaks very strongly, very forcefully. So I probably won't do the justice to this that he would, but he says, "Forget the past, for it is gone from your domain. Forget the future, for it is beyond your reach. Control the present. Live supremely well now. It will whitewash the dark past and compel the future to be bright. This is the way of the wise." So let us go ahead and do some meditation together. So we can sit up nice and tall. We can go ahead and close our eyes. And let's take a couple of deep breaths. So as we're inhaling deeply, we can notice the expansion of the belly and the chest. And then we can exhale very slowly, and just allowing all the air to leave the body. And we can pause for a couple of seconds before we inhale again. And then inhaling again deeply, belly, chest expanding. Hold the breath for a second or two. And then long, slow exhale. And a couple more times. And deep inhale and long, slow exhales. And then just returning to our normal breathing. And now perhaps taking a moment to just scan the body from head to toe. And as you're scanning down the body, just notice if there's any tension in a particular part of the body. And just see if you can soften that area. So we're sitting upright, so there will be some use of the back muscles, obviously, to keep us upright. But other than that, we can just let any other tension go from the body. And as we begin our meditation practice, we can open our minds and our being to the infinite, acknowledging the reality referred to as God here with us now. Let us acknowledge the saints and sages of all enlightenment traditions. And let us honor and acknowledge our teachers, our gurus. Especially let us honor and acknowledge the teachers of our guru lineage, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, Paramahansa Yogananda, Roy Eugene Davis, and their successors. Now putting your attention on the front and higher regions of the brain, we can flow energy to our third eye and turn our attention within. Disregarding all thoughts, cares, or concerns, we let all of this subside. No longer a past, no longer a future. We are fully present in this moment. We can rest in the silence, calm, peaceful. Before we conclude our meditation today, we'll take a few moments to send our loving and kind thoughts outward, and acknowledging all souls with compassionate goodwill, wishing for them their highest good, and seeing them happy, healthy, and content. We see everyone peaceful and awake in their true nature. Let's chant Om one time to conclude. Om. Peace. Well, thank you all for joining me today. And I forgot to check to see who is leading next Sunday. So I believe it's Ryan Strong, but you can go to our website, KriyaYogaAlliance.com, and double check me on that. But everybody does a wonderful job. So I hope you'll join us next Sunday, and I'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste. Take care.